Are you frustrated and you're losing motivation and you want to quit your podcast? I got you covered. Let's talk about it. What's up, pod influencers? My name is Ozil and I want to welcome you to the Podcast Influence YouTube channel where I help you amplify your influence with podcasting. And on this channel, I'm going to share with you tips, insights, and strategies on how to pro up your podcast with style and influence. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 tips on how to stay motivated and avoid pod fading with your podcast, because let's face it, podcasting can be a lonely road, right? Most of the time, it's just you and the microphone, and it could be pretty challenging to stay motivated, especially in the beginning when you're not seeing maybe download numbers go up, right? And you're seeing a slow, steady growth, and you're wondering, you're asking yourself, geez, is anybody listening to this podcast? Is it worth it? Maybe this is something that I shouldn't, do after all, or I'm not great at. I think we've all faced it, right? We've all have asked those questions, especially early on in the journey. So if you are going through some pod stress, believe it or not, I think it's actually a term, or pod fading, which, by the way, people say that there's a stat out there that people quit after 7 episodes, but I've also seen people quit after 20 and after 30 because they just feel like they don't see a growth in download numbers, and then they get frustrated and they're like, I'm unplugging my mic, I'm done with podcasting, this is not for me, and let me figure out something else to do. So if this is you, which I believe everybody has faced these type of emotions and these thoughts, this video is going to help you out. So let's dig right in. Tip number 1, set personal goals. Simple personal goals such as I want to get 10 iTunes ratings and reviews by the end of the month, or I want to grow my podcast by 10% every month. By setting simple personal goals, it allows you to stay focused and motivated to achieve the next milestone. This is what I did early on, and it really helped me stay sharp and focused, knowing that I was striving for something. Because sometimes we go into this and you're kind of press and record aimlessly, and you really don't look at what you can do to really take it to the next level. So set personal goals. It'll help you stay motivated. Tip number 2, join a podcast community. We have an amazing podcast community. Shout out to Pod Houston, by the way. I'll make sure that I link it up in the show notes below. But it's a community that I started a couple years ago. We have over 1,000 members, and everybody in there is a podcaster from a different background at different stages. And it's just great to ask the questions, to see the engagement, to be able to support each other. And, it's something that's been super valuable and helpful for me as a community leader, but also as someone who would go into different groups myself to really look for like-minded individuals that get it. Sometimes we go out there with our family or maybe, our friends, and they really don't understand and get it, right? They don't get what we do. So I believe in surrounding yourself around a community of like-minded individuals that understand the emotions, the thoughts, the struggles, the challenges, the excitement, the celebration like you do. So it's important for you to surround yourself around the community. So that would be my tip number 2, is look for a community and get connected with the members, and that will definitely help you stay motivated and focused. And you can always look at, maybe search for an accountability partner in there or join a mastermind. That's what we've done, and it's been working wonders for a lot of our independent podcasters in our group. So get in a community. Tip number 3 is set a realistic routine. If you can't commit to 1 episode per week, then think about, what can I do? What's realistic to my lifestyle that will allow me to stay consistent, right? Because consistency matters. I talk about this in this channel when it comes to releasing podcast content. So you want to be consistent, but ask yourself, what can I be realistic? A lot of the times, I've had actually a podcast client says, well, I'm going to release 2 episodes, 3 episodes a week. And they pod fade because they can't sustain that. So sustainability derives from being realistic, setting a routine where you can manage your life and implement your podcast around it, and then of course execute that on a consistent basis. So setting a routine will definitely help you stay motivated and focused. Tip number 4, check in with your why. All right, go back to that place, to that why you started the podcast. Tap into those feelings that you get when you get that feedback, when you get the email, when you see your downloads from all over the world, which a lot of the hosting companies can show you the analytics. Use that to keep you motivated, to keep you understanding and embracing your why you started this podcast, because you are making an impact. And I'll tell you something, here's a little secret. You know, a lot of people, it's a faceless community out there. So a lot of the times I've noticed that listeners won't comment or give you feedback directly, but trust me, they're listening. I was one time out somewhere and somebody said, hey, Ozil, you have launched this podcast and I'm a big listener. And this person didn't strike me as an ideal listener, as in my avatar, but he was plugged in and listening and he really appreciated the content. So I'm here to let you know that sometimes you won't hear from them directly, but you can see the download numbers. And if you're getting 10, 20, 30 downloads, that's 30 people that are plugged in to your podcast. So appreciate that. Tap into those feelings and understand why you launched a podcast, and that will keep you motivated and let you know that there are people that are listening to you right now. And the final tip number 5, invest in your podcast growth. Podcasting is constantly evolving. The education is always evolving, which is the reason why I stay motivated. I'm excited about it because that's my space and I love that part of podcasting. So that being said, invest in your growth. I find that the podcasters that take time to take courses, to invest in mastermind groups, which by the way, we have a mastermind group. Shout out to Pod Houston Insider. It's our mastermind that we meet up every month. We have master classes, we have accountability, we answer questions. We're really there for each other, and it's a small tribe, and I have mad love for them. So you got to do the same thing, is focus on where can you invest in mastermind groups. I highly recommend taking courses, and again, just being involved. The community will help you stay motivated. I know that when I'm trying to learn a skill set or I'm trying to get better at something, I hang out with the people that are already successful, the people that are really serious about the skill set or about the thing that they're trying to learn, that I'm trying to learn. So invest in your growth. Don't think that just because you launch your podcast that you're done. I believe that you can always get better and expedite the process and your success by really surrounding yourself around the serious players in the game. So invest in growth. That is tip number 5. So the question of the day is, how do you stay motivated on your podcast journey? Leave it in the comments section down below. And that is it, guys. That is, hopefully you enjoyed these 5 tips on how to stay motivated, how to avoid pod fading, because let's face it, pod fading is real. It's a struggle, not only for beginners, but for intermediate, advanced podcasters. There's always a challenge between, the work and whether or not it's growing. But as I mentioned numerous times, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And you have to embrace the practice of doing a podcast. Love what you do. Love the fact that you are building your own audio, your own empire, right? Your own tribe. And that comes with building up the reps, getting in the trenches, showing up for your audience. And the fact that you're seeing people that are listening to your podcast should tell you a lot and should keep you motivated. Now, I know life happens, which is the reason why I said set a realistic approach to your podcast. But if you are committed to your voice, committed to your audience, you will be successful. I promise you. All right. Thank you so much for joining in today. As always, much appreciated. Please subscribe to the Podcast Influence YouTube channel. Share it on social media with YouTube, with all your friends. Tag me on Instagram and at ThinkOzio, and I'll make sure that I link it up down below. And then of course, hit the notification button so you can be first in line to check out all the weekly content every Thursday. All right, guys, my name is Ozio. Till next time, peace and one love.